In the first reputation, we see a distraught guy watering a tree in his garden while inside a damaged house. That's nearly the camera focuses on his face and he is utterly dead but for a single branch holding onto a few green leaves. The man turns around and reveals that his mouth has been touched. If he speaks another word, he will perish. How did he get into this predicament? Continue watching to discover as the situation changes. Back a few weeks, we introduced Jack McCall, a literary agent whose responsibility it is to identify gifted authors and sell their novels to publishers. Jack is an incredible businessman and an even more gifted public speaker. He has a reputation among his peers for being able to persuade people to do anything. Jack also has a lovely wife named Caroline and a 1-year-old boy whom he loves, but he frequently neglects his family in favor of business. Caroline gets used to raising her child alone and is sick of her husband's casual attitude toward his household responsibilities. One morning at his office, Jack discovers that a well-known spiritual teacher named Dr. Sinya is visiting the area. He believes that a book written by Dr. Sinya would be a huge success and make a lot of money, which stimulates Jack's curiosity. The following day, Jack books a meditation session with Dr. Sinja in the hopes of meeting him. However, when it comes to the actual meditation, he is unserious and distracted, and just as the session is about to end, Jack pretends to be overwhelmed and is taken aside by Dr. Sinja himself. Jack then reminds his team of his amazing persuasion skills. While they are talking, Jack deftly reveals his desire to publish the doctor's work as a book. Dr. Singer understands Jack's motives and enters his backyard without accepting his offer. A holy Bodhi tree in the garden splinters Jack when he attempts to touch it, which the guys disregarded. He tells her how much he respects her and then licks the little wound and talks about Jack's offer. Dr. Sinja and his teachings are what eventually persuade the guru to collaborate with him. A delighted Jack cancels his plans for the remainder of the day to go see his mother and share his recent achievement with her. She has dementia and is in an Illinois nursing facility. As a result, she regularly names her son incorrectly. Jack's mother calls him by his late father Raymond's name since they never had a good connection. He appears to be angry, and the day only gets worse when he and Caroline argue later that day. Caroline wants to relocate to a family-friendly area so their kid can grow up in a healthier environment. But Jack doesn't want them to leave the bachelor pad, so he recommends painting the studio room to make it into a nursery instead. In the midst of their quarrel, the couple feels the earth shake. Within seconds, the entire house begins to move, and in the backyard, a Bodhi tree appears out of nowhere. Jack is amazed as he examines the magnificent tree and discovers that it resembles the tree that gave him a splinter. It even has the red mark, and he soon understands that Dr. Sinja must have given it to him as a gift. The next morning, Jack is overjoyed to get Dr. Singh's book, which he believes would make him wealthy. However, his plan backfires when he discovers that the book is just 5 pages long and assumes that Dr. Singh is playing a practical joke on him. Jackson visits, only to discover that the spiritual leader wishes to retain the book in the ashram short. Jack brings up the tree in his backyard, which piques Dr. Singh's curiosity, and argues that this is a breach of contract, but Dr. Cinder is certain of his choice. They check it out at his house and discover that while the rest of the tree is green, one limb is missing its leaves. Dr. Sinja examines it for some time before making a startling realization. Jack's life is now connected to the tree, and every word he speaks will cause a leaf to fall, meaning that when there are no more leaves, so will Jack. Jack freaks out and tries to axe the tree down, but he only hurts himself. At this point, it is made clear that if the tree is damaged, Jack would also suffer. The only way to protect himself is to stop talking. Completely, Dr. Sinja offers to assist him after consulting with his Bolivian colleagues. Yet it will still take 3 days later. Jack had a nightmare and attempts to leave a note. It doesn't take long for his wife to discover that every word he writes will also cause a leaf to fall. In fact, if he tries to communicate with anyone in any way, the tree will respond. In the scene that follows, the man vainly attempts to return to work but encounters numerous obstacles due to his new disability. He attempts to make the incorrect coffee orders that the barista gives him and suffers an accident. The day only gets worse for Jack when he is introduced to a crucial investor at work who he is unable to communicate with. As he tries to get through the conversation, 2 squirrels start climbing up the tree at home, which causes Jack to feel ticklish and start laughing, making a fool of himself. He invites his assistant Aaron to a meeting later that day in the hopes that he can communicate with the investors while Jack sweats profusely due to the watering of the tree at home. The investors try to ignore the elephant in the room, but the meeting fails due to Aaron's poor communication skills. Jack arrives at home after a busy day. After just 1 day of enduring the curse, Caroline tries to talk to him about their relationship but interprets his silence as discrimination, leading to a larger quarrel and Caroline leaving with the baby. The realization that Jack has lost his major investors and his family is in danger strikes him like a tropical cyclone, leaving him feeling powerless. He tries phoning Dr. Sinja in Bolivia for an update but wastes many leaves before getting no response. The next day, Caroline makes one more effort to save their marriage by inviting Jack to spend the night in a hotel room. He enters the room with excitement when he finds her waiting for him in underwear, but things quickly start to go south when Caroline asks him whether he loves her, and all Jack can utter is the word yes, which forces Caroline to leave him permanently shortly after. Jack needs to attend yet another meeting with the investors he misled the day previously. He blows. Although apprehensive, Jack does his best to blend in. Luck simply doesn't seem to be on his side at home. This is his last chance to win their favor and make up for the prior disastrous encounter. Despite Jack's uncontrollable coughing due to the pesticides the gardener sprayed on the Bodhi tree, his employer made an effort to continue the meeting before Jack became very drunk and punched Buff in the nose with a stick. The investor's final resort before breaking ties with someone so immature, he returns home in frustration and contacts his assistant Aaron to try to explain the issue to him. Using a picture, he attempts to help Aaron understand the predicament, but it takes him a while to understand since he doesn't think the curse is real. After wasting more words to establish his credibility, Jack assigns Aaron the responsibility of keeping an eye on the tree and performs random acts of kindness throughout the city. He feeds the homeless, donates to a church, releases a cat from a tree, and does all of these good deeds while on the phone with Aaron, but nothing ultimately removes the curse. Jack is once more left alone when Aaron has returned to the office. He sits hopelessly in front of the tree and practices meditation. When Jack is at ease, he remembers how his family was happy up until his father abandoned his mother and him. Years later, Jack has never been able to forgive his father for what he did, and it has always haunted him unexpectedly. When Jack awakens from his relaxed state, he discovers that Dr. Sinja has returned to the area with hopeful eyes. He rushes to see the guru only to be informed that there is nothing that can be done. Dr. Sinja has questioned every wise guru he is aware of, but none has an answer as of yet. All he can tell is that in order to overcome the curse without sacrificing his will to life, Jack must come to terms with something within of himself. When Jack gets home, he turns to alcohol. Aaron rushes to his aid and attempts to assist Jack, but Jack has made the decision to take his own life while singing along to a song. The majority of the leaves on the tree fall off before Aaron knocks Jack unconscious and covers his lips with duct tape as the camera pans to the tree. There is now just one green branch visible. The next morning, when Jack awakens, he is aware that it is his final day on Earth. He listens to his heart and is clear about what he wants to accomplish with the few remaining words he has to say. He visits Caroline and declares his love for her before buying a struggling author's work for $10,000 in order to support the man he has been neglecting for months. He then takes a stroll down the beach where he watches people going about their daily lives and overhears old couples discussing their relationships, which brings back memories of his youth. Finally, when night falls, he visits his mother, who once more misidentifies him as his father, but this time Jack agrees. He listens as she proudly shares how successful her son is and how proud she is of him. She mentions one thing about Jack, though, that she dislikes: he harbors too much anger in his heart and won't let go of it. She understands that the resentment he harbors toward his father is causing him pain, and she thinks the time has come for him to let it go. Even though Jack is mute and so unable to communicate, he ultimately realizes that no matter how much success he has, he will never be content until he is willing to forgive his father. In the scene that follows, Jack tells his mother that he loves her while only leaving the final 3 leaves on the tree. Jack visits his father's grave and, in a flash of insight, tells him with his final words that he forgives him. Spent and the tree has no leaves left, so a sharp pain strikes his chest, causing him to fall to the ground. A few seconds later, his phone begins to ring, and he picks it up with all of his remaining strength. On the other end, Aaron tells Jack that he won't believe what just happened. The tree is now magically green and the curse has been lifted. The scene shifts to a few months later, when Dr. Sinja welcomes Jack to his ashram to congratulate him for publishing a book about his life and his connection with his father. The book is called 1,000 Words. He was changed when the curse was lifted. He is now a family guy who, for the time being, is really content with his life. Aaron, who takes over Jack's place in the company and is just as conceited as his boss, is about to receive a lesson of his own from the Bodhi tree that emerges mysteriously in his workspace. The movie concludes as the couple is playing with their kid in their new home, and Jack pleasantly surprises Caroline by purchasing her the house she truly wanted in a decent neighborhood for their child. He has also planted a boat-shaped tree in the yard to serve as a reminder of the lessons he has learned. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, turn on the bell for more videos like this, and leave a like to support the channel.